and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Riding with Jonathan. I am your host, Jonathan Larsen, and today our guest is Adam Ellsworth. He is the owner of Molten Audio here in Sioux Falls. So we're going to hear a little bit about what he does, where he goes, and how he does it. So welcome, Adam.
Thank you.
It's good to have you on here. We work together on quite a few events, which is just a small part of what you do. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Molten Audio? What is it that you do exactly?
Let's see. Good question. I'm still getting acclimated to the bus.
Yeah.
What do you call this?
Bus? It's a bus.
Okay.
But and like I say in all of the videos, kind of like you're up front, like you're right there.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
There's a guy that said if everybody drove a Volkswagen bus, there would be less car accidents because you're basically on the front of this thing. There's probably 18 inches between you and whatever's in front. So, yeah, safety.
What year is this?
This is a 1969.
Really? So it's
Yes.
about my age.
Yes.
I'm actually much younger than that.
Yeah. But
We're about
it's
the same
close.
age.
We are about the
Yeah.
same age, and it does get close. So, it is fun and it's kind of appealing. So,
Yeah.
But it is awkward at first. So
It's fun. But yeah, about me. So yeah, I own Molten Audio. We do concerts, events, street dances, benefits, banquets, birthday parties. I've never done a bar mitzvah. I've done a handful of funerals. So basically we own sound, lights, stage, video walls, cameras, pretty much anything technology related to an event, including power distribution, things that you don't usually think about.
Yeah.
We have a lot of infrastructure. So basically, I like to say we can do an event if you give us a flat space and somewhere to plug in, we can make it happen.
And we're talking, well, for the people that don't know, like large events, like
Mm-hmm.
festivals, like when you say a video wall, like what size is that? How big is that?
It's modular. You can basically build it in half-meter increments is how we design it. But I think the biggest wall I can build is something like 30 feet by 8 feet tall. And
wow.
I mean, I can cross-rent. You can build almost unlimited size, limited by space and how much weight you can hold in the ceiling.
Exactly. Okay. So we can go from huge festivals to wedding venues to fundraisers. I like to honk at those guys.
Yeah.
To all sorts of things. You do sound, you do lighting, you do the PowerPoint presentations as well. And I think a lot of people, like fundraisers, for instance, they provide you with their slides and what they want on there, and then you guys kind of put that show together, or how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. The easiest process is usually when people design like the framework of a PowerPoint. Some people have in-house designers, and that's great. They can design something, but many people don't. And so they're just putting, text into PowerPoint, and I like to take it from there and then basically fluff it. Instead of, if they start with a PowerPoint that's just Times New Roman, some pictures of their event, color scheme is random. I like to take that. I pull it into we use a different software package for presentations.
Okay.
I like to pull it in there, and I can give it an animated background. I can give it a theme that's consistent with their branding for the event. We can handle all that part, so that you don't need to retain a separate designer. You don't need to be good at PowerPoint. We just need the content, and then we can take it and kind of elevate it to be a polished presentation.
Yeah, you just need an idea of where they wanted to go with it. The sky's the limit. It could be as grand as you want it to be. You're just going to make sure that it just doesn't look too simple. I mean, that's what we want in these presentations, no matter what it is. Sometimes if you don't know, you just don't know. And that's why it's great having someone like you who will be able to ask questions and be like, hey, what would you like this to look like? If you could do this, like, what would you like it to be? And then you put that together, you do run of show, I guess is what you would call it. So then you would work with all the aspects of the show of like, when do we do this slide? When do we do this speaker, all the microphones, sound check, and things like that. All right.
Yeah. Well, I like to say there's kind of three technical elements to an event production. You have sound, lights, and video, right?
Okay.
And sound is how you communicate. That's how you express the idea you're trying to do, whether you're trying to convince people to give you your cause, or or train them on something. I mean, obviously we don't just do banquets. We do a lot of events. We do annual meetings where people are talking about their success over the year. We do a lot of live music and just parties. And audio is how you communicate, so that's got to work. That's got to sound good. Otherwise, their attention's going to wander. Lighting is how you focus people's attention and set the mood. Like if you don't light your stage at the front of the room, people are more likely to look around. They start wanting to lose attention. So by lighting the front of the room where you are, people, it kind of helps steer people. Hey, this is where you're supposed to be looking. And then the color scheme of the lights sets the mood. If you've got, if it's a serious moment, not to oversimplify, but cool colors imply this is a serious moment. Warm with lots of movement imply, hey, this is exciting. We're celebrating something. Again, I'm oversimplifying it, but a lot of it is subliminal, just suggestion. And then finally, video, basically what you put on the video wall, your slides, things like that. That's what people remember. That's what people take pictures of and post on social media. That's what what goes in your eyes is what you remember about next year. And so the three of those things have to be working in concert, if you will, synchronized. They both all have to be pro. It's the difference between an event that happens, you're asking for whatever events happen, versus
got a honk and wave at me. Sorry.
Versus an event that they look forward to every year. It's like, okay, this is an event I want to attend every year because it's a good time for a good cause.
All right, sorry, there's just a guy running out in the road. I didn't.
We can edit him out.
Yeah, he'll be in there somewhere. I'll put him in the thing. All right, so and that's very important. And if you notice, like, if you've ever been to an event, you're like, I didn't even notice there was sound guys there. That's what it's supposed to be like. When you're at an event, the sound and everything should just be so seamless and work so well that you don't even realize that there's sound people there handling it. It's when people can't hear it. And for my event, and I always tell my clients this, if people can't hear who's speaking or whatever, they disengage.
Right.
We just get frustrated, we shut down, and then we're like, if it's not important for them, then it's not important for me. And so you guys kind of deal with that because you guys are at the event and hands-on. You guys are skilled in this. What are some of the challenges in sound that people should be looking for when they're checking out a venue per se? What should they look for? Just baseline.
Like related to sound?
Related, well, yeah, let's just do sound first.
Okay.
Like, what are the bare minimums that you should have?
So, basically, I mean, I call my company Molten Audio. We do a wide range of technical services, but foundationally, we are an audio company. That's something we take the most seriously. And that's my primary background. I actually went to school for computer science. I was a software developer for over a decade. But it's very science heavy. You take physics, you take things like that, and calculus. Audio is the most technical of the art that we're producing. It's all physics, sound. It's acoustics of the room. We basically apply wave propagation properties, all this stuff. I don't want to sound like I'm making things up, but it's true.
Probably worth a Google.
Put a ribbon on this real quick. Basically, we look at a room and we say, okay, what are flat surfaces that sounds are gonna bounce off of? Can we angle the speakers differently? When we do like the line arrays, which are stacks of speakers together, we actually do different volume and different timing for every little speaker so that the sound arrives to everybody in the room at the same time and the same volume.
Oh, okay.
That's the level of difference between putting a speaker on a stick and turning the volume up versus actually designing a system and tuning it for the room so that the people in the back hear as well as good as the people in the front, but nobody's getting blasted out by volume.
And I think that's what a lot of people can understand is if you've ever been to an event and you sit up front and then there's the speakers and you're just getting blasted.
Like in your face,
yeah. And you're like, hey, can we turn it down? And we're like, can't, because then those people aren't going to hear. And that's when you only have the option of the volume knob, I call it. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but there's some people that's the only capability that they brought at that time was that sound system is up front, and they're like, I I can turn this
Well,
knob and that's
once the event starts, that's all you have.
Yeah.
Like, all this is preparation. You know, once the doors open and you've got the sound system you've committed to, at that point, I call it combat audio. You're basically dealing with the situation you have, with the tools you have, and doing the best job you can. But the more preparation you do, you know, what do they say? Proper preparation provides progress, success. That's not right, but it's close.
It's close enough. Now they'll look that up and be like, no.
Google that and put it in the comments.
Yeah, they can put it in the comments of what it is. But what it comes down to, for my job, what I do, for your job, a lot of this comes down to the communication.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it comes down to having a client be able to communicate with you and say, hey, this is what I want, or give you an idea of what they want, because they don't always know exactly what they want because it's not their specialty.
Right,
but then
right.
you take that and you can be like, what if we did this, and blend all that together, and you can take a lot of that work out of it for them. Basically, is what they
Right.
could come to you and they could be like, this is our theme, for instance, and you could be like, okay, what if we projected this on the wall here? What if we put your sponsors, projected on the wall? What if we use these colors and uplighting to set the mood, or we did that? They can come to you and just kind of do that, right? Because you guys have the experience and the knowledge where you can say, okay, that's your theme, that's your idea. What if we did this?
Right. Because we don't want every event to be the same either. You know, we're always mixing up. We're always innovating. We're looking what people are doing nationally.
Yep.
To see what trends are happening. And we can take some of these ideas. You know, we've always got ideas stacked up. It's like, man, I want to try that, but I have to wait for the right event. And the earlier people reach out to us, the better success we have. Like, the earlier we can start kicking around ideas, see what fits the mood people want for the event.
Yep.
You know, because ultimately it's their event. They're going to set the mood. They're going to set the tone. But we can facilitate it and make their vision come true.
Yeah. All right. So in another video, I had Sean from the district on the thing, and he also talked about his in-house sound. Like, you guys work together. It's your equipment, kind of a thing. Talk to me about if somebody was to have their event at the district, like even a wedding or a fundraiser. How does that work? I mean, you're obviously in on those communications, in on those talks and stuff like that, but what does that sound package kind of look like?
Sure. No, it's we of course travel all over the region. You know, we go to many different states. We cover any venue in town. But the district is unique. That's our house gig. I have been involved in the district since the blueprint phase. Like, many of the core features that the building has related to production were, my contributions basically to the design. So that's really exciting. We opened it in 2013, November 2013. The district was done. But all the audio and lighting equipment is ours. We're basically a contracted provider, and we're able to leave most of our gear there, which dramatically cuts on labor, rigging, things like that. That's where the benefits really come from, is that the gear more or less lives there. And so versus moving into another venue where you've got a whole setup day, we show up, we're already ready to sound check. So basically we have, and all of this is flexible. We have a full lighting package there. I've run quite a bit of video wire in the building, so we can actually set additional screens. We can put projectors anywhere, video wall anywhere, and the wiring's already there. Let's see, what else? Stage exists, lighting. We have a huge line array hanging in there. That's the best sound system I have, and it basically lives at the district. Okay. So we take it out for other events, like if we're doing larger concerts somewhere, it does leave the building. Yep. But most of the time it lives there and it's just ready to use. So. And then that video wall that you talked about earlier, you could use that as the backdrop then, right? What? Sorry. Yes, exactly. Yep. The video wall's an add-on, and we can suspend it from the ceiling. We can ground stack it. You can kind of use a video wall a few different ways. It can be basically for PowerPoint, like a regular 16:9 shape. Yep. For slides. You can go super wide and add visual elements to it. You can even chop it up into columns and make it literally like a lighting visual element. No, the video wall itself is just the ultimate canvas. It can be anything. Any shape. And so that's
picture, yeah.
fun to play with. But
Okay.
I mean, tools. They're not toys.
They're not.
They're very important tools.
But when it's your profession and it's your passion, they are kind of like toys.
Oh,
in a sense that you guys enjoy what you do, and you really make it happen, and you make every event unique. Now, I like working with you guys because I like to sound good, and I don't have to worry about sound when I'm up there auctioning and stuff like that. If I get carried away and I just like get into it, I know that you guys are monitoring me and you're doing that, and I don't like to stand on the stage, so I move all around. But then it's important for me to be able to be heard all around, and for me to hear kind of myself, I guess, as I'm doing that as well. So I'm kind of a different. I'm not the lapel wearing auctioneer that stands behind the podium. I kind of make you guys work a little bit more in the fact that I'm like, I want to sound good all over, and I want to be able to be heard from all over.
Right.
So that's kind of I appreciate that. I have it in my contract. It's not mandatory, but I always want them to have an outside sound source, I called it. If you're in a ballroom with overhead speakers, that's fine for background music.
Right.
If nobody's in the room, but once you fill a room, and I'm sure you could tell us all the science and all that of how that works, but our ears don't point up to the ceiling, and they just don't have the gain, I guess.
Sure.
Is that am I right?
Big picture, whether you're an auctioneer, performer, or even just like an executive director standing at the podium, the less you're worried about production, the better your job performance is going to be, basically. Like, our whole job is to take the stress away from people, whether it's video, sound, lighting, whatever else. Like, we take those pieces away so that you can focus on everything else, or just focus on the event and being present. And so when we're handling the audio, you're not worried about, is it going to feed back if I stand in this spot? And then it brings out the best performance in you, because you can relax with the crowd, you can engage. That's 100% why we do what we do.
Yeah, and that's super important. Like I said, the people who attend, a lot of times you guys are overlooked because they don't notice you there. But that's only because everything was good. I mean, the sound levels were good. Nobody was worried that they were overpowered or they couldn't hear. And that's kind of what you want. It's not you don't get the publicity that you should probably get at an event, but that's not why you're really there.
Exactly.
It's just you're there to do a great job and to do this. This hill is my nemesis.
Oh, I bet.
Because I slide back, and when I was growing up in my Volkswagen that I had, I hated that hill. So I just gotta let people know that this is.
You handled it great. I'm proud of you, Jonathan. I don't know if I tell you that enough.
Yeah, thank you. We survived another one.
Yeah.
So the question that I always ask people now is, what's your favorite part about your job? What is it that you're just like, if I didn't need to make money, I would do this anyways, because this is what I love?
That's true of the whole thing. I mean, like I said, we could fill another half hour with how I got where I got, but I've always been interested in sound. Like, literally down to when I was a kid, we would set up shows in the garage, and it was just my brother and I. And my brother was the performer; he would be the entire show. Okay. And I would take the work lights and hang them in the ceiling and do color gels in front of them. Like, I was running lights when I was 6 and 7 and 8.
Nice.
Literally. So, no, there's no question I enjoy just the whole process. What I like, now that I'm older and a little more mature, I like the variety, first of all. I like that every event is different. I don't like to do the same thing all the time. I guess I'm kind of saying the same thing twice there. But I just like being able to use the skill set and the tools that I have and that we've developed and collected over the years, and to be able to make the world a better place through banquets, things like that. And I'm not overstating my importance, but it's important to me, is that I am a part of this process. I am helping people get fed in Haiti. I am helping people who are unhoused in downtown Sioux Falls, and everything in between. and that's an extremely rewarding part of the job. But even for other events that are just an annual meeting, a collection of employees that are getting together, or just a concert, people are just out to have a good time.
Yep.
That's really rewarding to me. So no, I work a lot of hours because I don't want it any other way.
All right. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, and that's why I like working with people like you, because you feel like you're an important piece, and you are a very important piece. You're just not up front and center. Molten Audio, how do they contact you?
Moltenaudio.com, that's MOLTEN audio, as in molten lava. A lot of people think, they ask if I'm related to the Moltens in Iowa. I've never heard of them. It's spelled different. So moltenaudio.com, phone number 605-321-7160. I'm sure that'll show up on the screen.
Probably somewhere.
Automatically, and we're on all the socials.
All right. That's Adam Ellsworth. Thank you very much for being a part of this episode, and we will see you on the next one.
All right, appreciate it. Take care, guys.